Hello everybody and welcome back again. Just done a couple of readings on the UK and the US. Putting a few out today just in follow up to my video of the other day where I had looked at the immediate future, the overall immediate future of a few countries or a few areas around the world. Just doing a little bit more of an in-depth. As my regular viewers would know, I don't necessarily indulge in the day-to-day gossip or the day-to-day politics. I like to do an overview, big picture, but I'm just looking at probably what you would call middle-level questions in relation to various areas of the world. So this particular reading is on China. There's a bit going on in China. Don't get a lot of information coming out, but like everywhere in the world, they're struggling under supply chain shortages of fuel, shortages of food. Part of that is self-inflicted through, excuse me for a minute, trying to get that coffee down before it goes stone cold. Part of it's self-inflicted by saber-rattling tariffs against countries like Australia and the US. So as China physically doesn't have the ability to feed its own people, it has a population of 1.4 billion, huge population, doesn't have the ability to actually fuel or feed its own people, but it has done a few cutting the nose off to spite the face moments over the last few years, in retaliation moments. Part of it is to try and force the Chinese people to use local products. However, as the once being the factory powerhouse of the world, and still is to a large degree, but as its population is moving out of the agrarian base manufacturing levels into middle class, they are demanding more protein, better quality products, fresher foods, and more foods, but also better housing, better clothing. Car uptake is increasing. Fortunately, most of them are electric, but yeah, they're suffering shortages like everywhere else. So I just want to have a quick look at China and its shortages. I'm not going to put any questions over this particular read. Just tell me about the shortages of food and fuel, heating, electricity. Now there is a claim that that's occurring because of renewables by those that like to push the fossil, but it's not. It's occurring because China put a moratorium on coal from other countries, and what happens is it brings a lot of its own coal, poor quality coal, I must admit, that's not very high producing for energy. Brings it down by rail from the northern climes up towards Mongolia, and there are transport issues there as well, especially going into winter. So just tell me about China's fuel, food shortages, please. Just tell me about them. Tell me about China's food and fuel shortages. China's food and fuel shortages. Fuel and food shortages. Okay. Oops. Right, there is insecurity. It's a juggling act. He's balancing on one foot, juggling with the perils of the supply chains in the background. Feeling defensive. Oh, it's not a very nice card to end on. And manipulation. So the Ten of Swords, feeling of, being stabbed in the back, downfall, the government is manipulating. There is a harsh truth. The King of Coins has many meanings. I'm just wondering whether in this one it's meaning fool's gold. It does also mean a provider and a financial achievement, an authority figure. But combined with these two cards, the Magician, who can mean manifestation, but also manipulation. But manifestation doesn't necessarily mean that something is being brought into reality. And the Downfall card, I'm wondering whether this is the Fool's Gold. And the King of Swords, so beware the double-edged sword. Sorry if I'm getting the light on that wrong. The double-edged sword. Base of the pack. Giving and receiving money. It's feeling isolated as it looks to its foreign shores. Yes. So a lot of this China has brought upon itself by withdrawing from the free trade, the world free trade market. It's not telling me that the government is manipulating, trying to make it work. Doesn't tell me if it's going to succeed or not, but time will tell. Actually, I'll just ask. Will China solve its shortages problem? Very quickly. Will China solve its shortages problem? Will China, in the short term, solve its shortages problem? Will China, in the short term, solve its shortages problem? Food, fuel, energy, heating, going into winter. In the short term, will China solve its shortages problem? Will China solve? So yes, it will. Victory. Just be patient. There will be some heartache, but you will return to prosperity. So yes, it will, which is good. Okay, quickly, right. China isn't attending the COP26, and along with Russia and India, it is also refusing to sign any agreements in regards to emissions. They have their own controlling emissions agenda. Does fall behind what the rest of the world is wanting to achieve. However, China is coming off a very low base of, in that it's been a very agrarian, agricultural based economy, a lot of poverty. It's dragged itself out of that poverty with its manufacturing, of which is very energy hungry. So, and it also has a population, as I said, of 1.4 billion people. So it is a very large Titanic to turn, very large ship to turn. In China's defense, China does produce a quarter of the world's emissions, but in its defense, it does produce less than half the emissions per person than the US does. So it's a very unwieldy country to change tact, but it is also the leading country in the world for bringing on board renewable energy. So basically it's coming from an extremely high polluting level with a population that is moving from lower class to middle class and therefore demanding more. The demanding more of middle class does consume more energy So China is battling on many fronts to provide that energy. So I just want to have a look very quickly. I'm not defending China, I'm just stating how it is. You know, there might be criticism of them being, you know, or they produce a quarter of all the world's emissions, but when you consider that their population is so large, I mean, we get the argument in Australia here of, well, we only produce 1% or less or whatever it is, but their population is 1.4 billion compared to our 26 million. And the upward trending of their society and the basis of their society. I mean, Australia's society basis is that we dig it up and send it overseas, whereas the Chinese society is based on receiving our product from overseas and actually manufacturing it into something useful. Not necessarily useful, I mean, there's a lot of rubbish out there as well, but two completely different societies and really cannot be compared. And as I said, they per person they're at half what the US is producing. With the US, I think they've got 635 million, again significantly less. And the US has a lot more money at its disposal as well. So just very quickly, I just want to have a look. I keep saying very quickly, and these videos always end up so long. Very quickly, China in its China's renewable energy path. Again, open question. China's renewable path. As I said earlier, these are sort of middle-level questions. They're not specific. China's path towards renewable energy. China's path towards renewable energy. Flinging out the Emperor, which is the Chinese government, Queen of Cups. So she is intuitive. She does have a revelation to make, but she's emotionally balanced. King of Cups at the base of the pack, but I'll get to that in a minute. Yes, they're bringing forward, they're bringing along their entire society, but this is a beautiful card. This is returning to your roots. Some difficult decisions to be made, but this is also relationships and contracts. And the Star of Hope. Oh, sorry, I didn't bring the laptop down for that. So, King of Cups at the base, a mentor who is he's diplomatic, he's calm, he's emotionally balanced. The Queen of Swords. Getting an awful lot of court cards and major arcana today, but I suppose these are important questions. She is encompassing, she is direct, she is also perceptive. And the Magician, manifesting possibilities. So China's going to basically keep on its path in a calm, controlled, measured way, and I feel it actually will be an inspiration. You know, we have to keep in mind the size of the population, their manufacturing base industry. So countries like Australia, as I said, we dig it up and send it overseas. We also have a very big educational base industry, medical and research and IT or IP, intellectual property, and agricultural. The US have a large agricultural, financial-based industry. So we have to understand that we have exported our manufacturing to this country, and we, if I say cut it some slack, but we also need to help it on its way. Same with India. You know, we can't dump our fossil produce fossil emissions producing industries on these countries and say, you sort it out. We are responsible as a world. And, we need Mother Earth to be healthy for our own future. If we were to disappear tomorrow, she would recover beautifully and flourish. So everything that's undertaken going forward, we need to consider for our own, what we need to create of this earth for our own healthy future. Okay, I was going to have a chat about communism in China, but I don't think I'll read on that today. As in, communism works for China. It's not for every country in the world, obviously. It's not necessarily how we do things in the West. But when you've got 1.4 billion people, some form of dictatorship and control is required. Yes, we would like it to be a freer society, so that the people can have more choice of information, but it works for China at this stage. Okay, right. With climate change, I'm just going to ask, will there be any major disasters in China? Gosh, we're having earthquakes and volcanoes all over the world, hurricanes, cyclones, floods, fires, tundra fires in Siberia, massive floods in the US and UK, wildfires in Australia, we call them bushfires, and the US, drought and flooding rain. But I know Australia is a country of drought and flooding rain historically, but more severe and more often at the moment. But I want to just have a quick look at natural disasters in the next 12 months in China. Will there be any major severe natural disasters in China over the next 12 months? Will there be any major natural disasters in China over the next 12 months? Quick look. Keep saying that. Okay, self-sabotage, betrayal, the world, giving and receiving. This is luxury, well-to-do, feeling out in the cold, secrets, death, planning on the world. Okay, I'm not getting any natural disasters, like extreme natural disasters, but what I am getting is that, especially coming out from COP, that China is going to feel like it's been betrayed and picked on by the world. And I don't think it's terribly unjust, that feeling. Thems and glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Okay, to finish up, vaguely positive. I think I know the answer to this one already. Will China take over from the US as the financial superpower? I'm being told no. Don't even know that I need to draw on this. I'm being told no, but the US will also lose its top dog standing. There is no one country that will become the monetary warlord, for want of a better word, financial leader of the world, it will actually become a world economy. So that's good. So on that note, that's my reading for China. Okay, thank you. Any questions, put them in the box below. So stay safe and sane, and I'll catch you later. Take care.